Hi Raj, how are you today?
Yeah, good
Yeah,
night.
yeah, not too bad, thank you. Right, right, we're in SRTIP. Yesterday we were in the DIFC in Dubai. Fantastic. Now we're both set up in both locations.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of setting up and now we're in Sharjah at this moment, and we were in Dubai yesterday. What was the ease in the process of setting up?
Yes, that's a very general sort of question. Let's start with the sort of basics, right? You have to be here, right?
Okay.
If you're going to do business with Emiratis, you can do business, I think, in any country. You have to be there locally, right? And that doesn't mean just you flying in and out, which we've been doing for some time, right?
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic. So you have to set up in the country. So you have to then pick your location. Right, we chose DIFC because obviously the similarities to the UK laws, right? So that was beneficial. So once you actually find out, you look into the different spaces, into the different free zones or the different jurisdictions within the country. You pick one, and then literally you find out what the incorporation is. We chose to do it ourselves,
Okay.
which
Yes.
in hindsight I think helped,
Yes,
right?
I think there was a lot of learning curve to be actually learnt from the beginning, from when we were there initially. But as you say, yeah, continue. Sorry,
Yeah, no,
no,
so that's fine. So I think once we got that side of it done, and obviously deciding on how we were going to operate internally, we got that side of it done. Didn't we? And that was quite straightforward. And then once you have that in place, the conversations with the locals, with the Emiratis, businesses, government, just changed, completely changed, right? Even you saw that,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, being so close to the financial centre yesterday, certainly it felt almost I was in Canary Wharf to some extent, uh,
But warmer.
but warmer. Correct. Yes. But looking at the diversity of the retail shops, the the gym, the gymnasium they had in the middle of the DIFC, so you could view it from the top. You have a range of different innovation labs all piled up next to each other, and a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
So that aside, and now we're in Sharjah. I mean, how did you find the transition from DIFC to Sharjah?
Yeah, no. So there is a difference there. That's completely right. Um, but then again, so I mean, obviously Sharjah and Dubai have a border, right? But it's almost like it is a different country. So again, the Sharjah Research Park, again, they had a different setup. They had different customer service. When it came to the license, again, different laws, right? Yeah, that you have to adhere to. So again, you learn that yourself as well. But because we had that first jurisdiction in place, I had my Emirates ID in place,
Hmm.
right? So all those aspects were done. The second part of the business became a lot easier, and hence why obviously the work with the local investor then became more straightforward. Never easy, right? Because you're still
Huh?
dealing with personalities
Exactly.
and people. But in the sense that obviously in terms of the jurisdiction laws, and you also then understand why certain things are a certain way, right? So when it comes to the bank account,
Hmm.
there were things that in the UK perhaps obviously you get them set up a lot quicker. But if you want facilities, if you want obviously the commercial services, you need to make sure that you have all the setup done properly. So the board resolutions and memorandums of association in the UK, you print them off the internet, won't you,
Hmm.
and submit it. So here, you have to do things in a more concise way.
I mean, one of the main factors I found was, I mean, you probably more than likely elaborate on this, is the employment for actually onboarding people to onto your business or the company as such. What are the laws? Can you quickly
Yeah, that's a good
elaborate
point.
on how the different regions vary in
Yeah,
terms of setting the license up?
that's actually a good point. So when it comes to labour laws and 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 working with the Ministry of Labour, there are obviously a lot of differences, which obviously can cost you if you don't do comply, right? So that became a lot easier. Sorry, not become a lot easier. That was something we had to learn. But once you learn it, it becomes easier because there's a process behind it, and they do look after their employees, right? The idea is they don't want charlatans, dodgy companies coming in trying to do certain things, cut corners. The employees are looked after and managed, and they want obviously the companies to do to adhere to certain laws. So that was something that was obviously different to how we perhaps brought on board in the UK. And again, once you learnt it the first time, obviously I'm as an employee as part of the company in DIFC. You just copy and paste that onto others.
Brilliant. Now, just to finish off with, if you had any advice for somebody coming from abroad and thinking, yep, I want to set up in the Middle East or i.e. Dubai or so forth or anywhere, um, what are the top 5 points that you should consider?
Five.
If you think of 5,
Points.
or top 3.
Yeah, top three is probably a bit easier. Obviously, top five for you, one of them might be the gym. Yeah, I saw you flex your muscles as you were talking about the gym. But I would say the first one would be have some, from a non-business perspective, I was about to say product market fit, but you should already have that in place. Um, the top five. One is, yes, make sure your UK company, everything is set up in such a way that it's all legitimate, right? Not
Right.
legitimate, but it's everything is put in place. I know in the UK company's house, you can get away with certain things if it's not, if you haven't got any borrowings, like we didn't have any borrowings or any external services, you have to make sure. But for the UAE incorporation, if that entity is going to own your entity here, make sure that paperwork is correct. Like, the KYC, know your customer, all that is done by the banks in a very concise way, and by the licensing authorities as well. So that's the first thing I think on the UK side. Second thing is someone has to be out here.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, I pulled the short straw on that one when it came to our company. But the thing is, once someone starts, they get to feel it on the ground. Then it's easier then to get the other employees and other people in place. Obviously, like I say, you're now in a position where you can come easily every 2-3 weeks. You know what to do now in terms of timing. It's a lot more scheduled out. So someone has to be on the ground. You can't just register and go. That's pointless. And then the third thing is, I think, look for the bank. I probably did it the wrong way round in terms of you're looking for. We did one thing, we did everything too sequentially.
Right.
Yeah, we should have done a few things in parallel, like Ministry of Labour with the bank. There's all 3-4 things that you have to do. Do them in parallel, so that you meet things as they happen. That can sometimes mean that you're not working on the business, and you can feel it. Your admin can tie up time, right? But you've got to do that. I think that's the important thing. Is look, there are service companies out there that they say they can give you bank accounts and things like that. Be very careful with external. If they've cut a corner and you've signed up with them, and a year down the line something happens, it's going to be on you. Okay. So that's the one advantage. We did everything ourselves, right? That was a key thing. So they're the top 3 I would give.
Okay. Yeah. No, it all makes sense. I mean, obviously, it's been a journey. You've learned as you've gone along, and by actually going through the process yourself, and without having external service companies coming in and showing you the way, or possibly showing you, saying, "Look, do it this way." You've had to go through that curve of finding the pitfalls.
But when you say, sorry to interrupt, when you say having our friend in Abu Dhabi sort of helped, if we didn't know the sort of cultural parts, obviously we have Satish who's been here for a long time. So if you can gather information from trusted people around, that will also save time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't, I can't take all the glory for that, but I think there's certain things that, Abu Dhabi and Dubai are different. Right, so it's not like someone from Abu Dhabi can help you with Dubai, and if you haven't set up a business in DIFC, then again you don't know what that process is. So you have to gather bits of information. But I would say the one thing that, and you saw it from the UK, right? From the UK, we were trying to obviously get things done, but because again the DIFC had an online portal. Yeah. And we were able to do it a lot from the UK, right?
Yeah, remotely. So that obviously helped tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to do that. So there's certain things like that we've taken advantage of, and you could probably, if we had to do it again, you probably would have saved maybe 40, 50, 60% of the time, right? But obviously, hindsight's.
I mean, this is the beauty of having this conversation. Is obviously you're passing this knowledge on now, and looking for, if there is, companies out in the UK that do wish to move, and perhaps it's easier by them to watch and say, right, this is the way you did it. This is the way. We need to possibly look or take snippets of what you've said and work it themselves.
Yeah. I mean, but then this, isn't it? Unless you're 100% in, try and do it remotely. Or if you're going to try, if you've got one customer here or one trial or something like that, and you think you're going to build on that, I can't see that happening unless you're here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the one conclusive thing you would bring up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's great insight, Raj. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.